My name is Sandra Chambers, and this is my final motivational research project for EME 6419, Motivational Design. This motivational design proposal is focused on a supplementary grammar course for higher level middle school students. The course was designed to teach students how to identify and use grammatical concepts, particularly the 9 parts of speech and the 8-word jobs in the English language. The course will also delineate sentence labeling and diagramming for various sentence types. It is intended to help students successfully pass the English portion of the PERT College Readiness Test. Motivational problems. When looking at motivational problems by category, attention is by far the biggest motivational problem area for learners in this course. Grammar is viewed as a very dull subject for most middle school students. When they hear the term grammar, they immediately associate it with boring and stop listening. There are 3 main subcategories of arousing attention: perceptual arousal, inquiry arousal, and variability. Unfortunately, the course is lacking any significant means of any of these facets of attention. Because grammar is a very minute piece of learning the English language, it is often overlooked as unimportant, unnecessary, or outdated. Because of this, the relevance levels for most middle schoolers would be very low for a grammar class. According to the expectancy value theory, it is unlikely that students will be motivated to put in significant effort. Additionally, while many of the students are taking the course specifically to do well on the PERT College Readiness Test, the course makes no mention of the test and does not demonstrate how the content overlaps with the test content. However, it does show motive matching through opportunities for cooperative work, leadership responsibilities, and personal achievement opportunities. Another issue is that while many students are taught small bits of grammar in elementary classes, most students have no in-depth understanding of grammatical concepts. So while they are familiar with grammatical words and used in a course, they will not be able to define or identify where these words are. The course provides well for building confidence of students. It has a thorough syllabus and course schedule that clearly explain teacher expectations and student requirements. Students will begin at a low level of understanding and build systematically to a more complex and in-depth understanding of grammatical concepts and sentence diagramming. The process of progression will allow students many opportunities for success. Additionally, students will be able to feel personal control in their learning when they decide their own pace of the course and implement personal preferences on assignments, discussions, and assessments. While most of the students have a previous experience with determining parts of speech, experiences in these previous classes would be varied. Some students will feel very confident about their abilities to learn, perhaps even having too much confidence in their knowledge of grammar. However, many students will feel that they should already know the material, but that they were never properly taught, and this will give them low self-efficacy in the beginning of the course. The simple structure of the grammar class and the combination of reinforcement and conditioning should increase student satisfaction in the course. Middle school students find pleasure in both intrinsic rewards, such as praise, recognition, knowledge, and ability, and extrinsic rewards, such as candy, tokens, or certificates. This course has built in a multiplicity of both extrinsic and intrinsic rewards. It also implements operative conditioning in the form of positive reinforcement through teacher feedback and student interactions. Literature review. In 1979, an American educational psychologist named John Keller introduced what he calls the ARCS motivational model of instructional design. He said the primary focus of motivational design is on people's motivation to learn and refers specifically to strategies, principles, processes, and tactics for stimulating and sustaining the goal-oriented behaviors of learners. He then identified and delineated 4 components of his ARCS model: attention, relevance, confidence, and satisfaction. The first component of the ARCS model is attention. The first component of the ARCS model, attention, has its foundation in 4 basic psychological concepts. The arousal theory differentiates between the behavior of a student that has a very low arousal, where they're practically sleeping, a student with an optimal arousal level, where they're engaged in listening, and a student with a high arousal level, someone who is anxious, stressed, or very angry. Second, curiosity. Curiosity can be divided into three theoretical perspectives: drive theory, incongruity theory, and the concept of competence. In layman's terms, drive theory indicates that people will practice exploratory behavior to better understand a situation or to solve a problem, like looking for food when they're hungry. Incongruity theory means that when two ideas are seen as contradictory, humans often unconsciously perceive things in a familiar way. They yearn to remove the uncertainty and ambiguity in their lives. And people will also search for a knowledge and information that will help them to feel the concept of competence or expertise. The third concept is boredom. Boredom, or general disinterest, can be separated into four basic categories: arousal, so low energy; monotony, which is repetitiveness; constraint, or lack of freedom; and unpleasantness, which is no interest or desire in the context. To the contrary, sensation-seeking refers to the extent where people want to seek unusual or novel experiences. They desire high levels of stimulation. Because each learner is very different, it's important that the audience for the course is analyzed for motivation when deciding for motivation. To engage students and attract learners, Keller delineates three categories of attention-getting activities. First, perceptual arousal. This ignites learner curiosity and captures learner interest. Perceptual arousal includes things like true stories and references to specific people, using metaphors and analogies to explain complex concepts, demonstrating principles with visualizations, using lists rather than paragraphs, using graphs, flowcharts, cartoons, and other visual aids, and establishing eye contact with students. Second, inquiry arousal. This incorporates problems and experiments that require active student problem-solving skills. Some examples of inquiry arousal are introducing a problem to students that requires inquiry or deep thinking, presenting conflicting concepts or paradoxes, offering mysteries or unresolved problems, and using visuals to create mystery and curiosity. And third, variability. Variation can take place in either format or style and sequence. Variation in format includes using appropriate white space in media, varying typeface, changing layout, and incorporating an assortment of materials, text, charts, graphics, and media. Variation in style and sequence involves changing in writing functions, for example, exposition, description, narration, persuasion, or differences in tone, serious, humorous, exhortation. It could include alterations in instruction sequence and variance between content, presentations, and active responses. ARC's model component 2, relevance. Relevance also has its foundation in many psychological theories, such as drive theory, purposeful behavior, field theory, hierarchy of needs, competence, effectance, or expectancy value theory. Relevance can further be branched into expectancies like goal choices or motives or goal orientation, and values like interest, intrinsic motivation, and flow. The relationship between these two aspects of relevance can be summarized with the expectance value theory, which claims that people will work toward a given goal only if the outcome is something they feel they can accomplish and it is something that they desire. Strategies for building relevance usually answer the question, how is this relevant to me and my situation? In order to define relevance-defining strategies, Keller offers three subcategories of relevance. The first subcategory, goal orientation, includes setting goals and working toward them. Some strategies for developing goal orientation in a course include stating immediate benefits, stressing intrinsic satisfactions of a subject, describing what can be accomplished after the learning is complete, and demonstrating how course knowledge is important to future endeavors. The premise of motive matching is that instructors responsively align instructional goals with personal student goals and learning styles. This is accomplished when teachers use personal language, provide real examples, encourage visualization, support goal setting, promote collaboration, and allow for competition and games. And finally, the third subcategory of relevance, familiarity, suggests that students need to see things that they are familiar with in the course content in order to relate the new concepts to their previous knowledge and experiences. Examples of using familiarity to build relevance are explicitly stating how the material builds on existing knowledge, using analogies and metaphors to connect content with known processes, and providing learners choices in assignment content or type of assignment. Confidence is the third component of the ARCS model. There are two main psychological theories that form a foundation for confidence. Locus of control, with an external control, meaning students believe that outcomes are determined by the actions of other people, and internal control, which means that students believe that outcomes are determined by their own behavior. And the second theory, which is self-efficacy, a belief that one has the ability to succeed. Self-efficacy has four sources: actual performance achievement, or when a student develops mastery consistently; vicarious experience, where a student has a connection to someone else that has succeeded; verbal persuasion, when a student is given positive verbal encouragement; and emotional arousal, when a student shows the optimal emotional level for learning. Keller also introduced three main confidence building strategies. First, in order to build trust between the teacher and the students, the course learning requirements and the teacher expectations are clearly defined. Second, learners will build self-confidence when they are given opportunities to succeed. Teachers can build opportunities of success by organizing content clearly, starting material at an appropriate level, and then building lesson difficulty over time, keeping exercises aligned with the objectives, and providing corrective feedback. And last, when students feel they have personal control of their learning, their confidence increases. You can do this by giving learners a choice in study sequence, course pace, demonstrating competency, and work environment. The fourth and last component of the ARCS model is satisfaction. Student satisfaction is supported by three psychological concepts. The first concept is a combination of reinforcement and conditioning. Reinforcement is simply the idea that people tend to do things that receive positive responses more frequently, whereas people try to avoid things that receive negative responses. Extrinsic reinforcement takes the shape of tangible rewards or controlling types of praise, whereas intrinsic motivation is a personal interest combined with increases in competence and personal control over one's choices. The main differentiation between the two seems to be associated with whether the reward has an informational or controlling effect. Classical conditioning, introduced by Ivan Pavlov, is when two unrelated things are repetitively associated, then the stimulus of one will eventually also become the stimulus of another. He demonstrated this in an experiment that he did with the dogs and meat powder. Operative conditioning, on the other hand, consists of managing the consequences of behavior to either increase or decrease the frequency of that behavior. The third psychological concept of satisfaction, cognitive evaluation, suggests that when a situation is not what people expect or not what others have received, they will feel cognitive dissonance and they will strive to reach a balance. This also leans on the balance theory. Three strategies for building satisfaction in a course are intrinsic rewards, extrinsic rewards, and feelings of equity. Natural consequences of a course, or intrinsic rewards, are the knowledge and/or skills that a student has developed during the course. Some forms of intrinsic rewards are positive experiences using new skills, verbal reinforcement and positive feedback of learner goals, accomplishments, acknowledgement of hard work, positive characteristics and/or risks and challenges met, and guidance to new areas of application. Positive consequences, or extrinsic rewards, are verbal praise, candy, certificates, or other tokens of reward. While extrinsic rewards can be very effective, they also need to be used sparingly so that they do not lose their novelty and value. Students feel equity when there are consistent standards and consequences throughout the course and between students. Teachers can increase student feelings of equity by assuring that assessment content is consistent with course and practice work, and also that when all students are graded, they are graded consistently throughout the course and with a rubric. The 10-step systematic motivational design process for the Introduction to Grammar class. As mentioned above, this is an introductory grammar course for higher level middle school students who are planning to take the PERT test. It will provide a foundation for future classes in beginning mechanics, advanced grammar, and advanced mechanics. The first rendition of this course was presented in an online platform. The course will probably continue to be offered online for a few semesters. It is also possible that it will eventually be transferred to an in-class setting, but for the present we will anticipate an online and remote setting for both teacher and students. The delivery system at present will be through a self-paced classroom setup in an online classroom. This course will provide a foundation for future classes, and it will provide a foundation for the PERT grammar test. The instructor is TESOL certified and has 3 years of online instructional English experience. She has tutored Spanish, taught this course last semester to 16 enrolled students, and taught in volunteer settings for approximately 20 years in a variety of subjects to a variety of audiences. The instructor has practiced differentiated teaching situations and cooperative learning in the classroom. She has used a variety of technological teaching strategies in both online and classroom learning. The teacher enjoys inquiry-based instruction and enjoys giving the students control of their learning pathways. She tries to always implement hands-on learning and visualization so that students not only learn the information but internalize the concepts. She likes to use TPR, games, and competition to help motivate students. However, the instructor does not like to use teacher-focused lecturing. She does not like learning through role play, as it makes many people awkward. She also does not like mandatory group work, but would prefer that students choose whether they wish to work in pairs, groups, or alone. This course is geared toward entry-level grammar students. While it is designed for middle school age youth, gifted younger students could probably succeed. It is also plausible that adult learners would learn much from the course. However, ESL students may struggle with some of the concepts and would need differentiation built into the course. The students will most likely not be excited to take the course. However, most of the students will be preparing for the PERT test and dual enrollment. Therefore, they will study hard in order to gain the knowledge that they need to pass the test. They will see the course as a stepping stone to get where they want to go, rather than something relevant that will improve their lives in the future. Most of the students will not know one another. They will be from a variety of local public schools, charter schools, private schools, and home schools. Most of the students were probably referred to the course through the dual enrollment specialist in their area, and it is probable that their parents signed them up to take the course. While a few students may see the course as useful, most of them will likely view it as boring, unnecessary, and a waste of time. Currently, the course is designed for online learning. While many children do well with online learning, it can also be very difficult for students that are not used to the platform. Additionally, students that have high parental support will likely have a higher chance of success because they will have someone to guide and encourage them to keep a study schedule. It should be expected that the online platform will be extremely difficult for many of the students. This audience analysis pertains to the whole class. Because this is a supplementary class geared towards students looking at the dual enrollment program in high school, most of the students will be high achievers and good students. For attention readiness, most of the students will anticipate the course to be dry and boring. They will have very low attention readiness. Perceived relevance. The only perceived relevance that most of the students will have regarding the grammar course is that it will provide the needed information to pass the PERT test. They are taking this course because they are required to, whether for knowledge or by parents. Their felt confidence. There are two groups. First, C1, the students that feel that they already have a firm grip of grammatical information being presented. They will have high confidence. These students may not pay attention to lesson material because they already know or already learned the material previously. Second, the C2 group will have a lower confidence. They fear that although they were supposed to have learned the material, they know they did not. However, both of these groups will have moderate to high confidence in their abilities to learn the material. Satisfaction potential. Most of the students will probably be at a moderate satisfaction level. They will feel satisfied with their achievements in the class, satisfied with their accomplishment of achieving a personal goal in order to prepare for the PERT test, and satisfied with learning something that they always felt they were supposed to learn. The major problems for this course are the low attention readiness and perceived relevance of learners. The differentiation of confidence levels is a minor concern because although the students may be overly confident or uncertain of their current grammatical knowledge, they both have the confidence to succeed overall. The major causes of concern do appear to be modifiable by delving into the relevance of using correct grammar for future courses, like high school or college, building resumes and cover letters, college entrance exams, scholarship essays, job presentations, papers, research, and other things that they will use in the future. Students can also have somewhat improved attention through initial motivational techniques like interactive games and interesting video clips and competitions. This introductory grammar course has integrated many attention-getting and attention-sustaining features. Each module in the course begins with a short 2-minute introductory clip that whets student curiosity. These include small rap videos, book readings, etc., and generate an initial interest in the material. Unfortunately, however, there are also deficiencies and problematic areas in gaining and maintaining student attention. The largest issue is that the topic of grammar is generally considered to be boring. Additionally, the course is set up very monotonously. There is very little variability in structure, assignments, or layout. Finally, the course does not encourage students to ask questions or support student curiosity. This course provides various forms of relevance-generating features. The course contains listed objectives for each module and defines what the student will be able to do once finished. It builds on external goals of the students, namely passing the PERT exam. The course allows for collaborative work, puzzles, games, and stories, and it also allows for personal choices on discussion subjects that relate to student interests. While these relevance strategies are useful, the course has no strong connection to relevance beyond the classroom. Students are not shown any usefulness of grammatical concepts beyond completing assignments. While most students are specifically taking the class in order to perform well on the PERT test, there is no existing mention of the PERT test in the course materials. The course has no visual connection to the personal goals of the students. The course material affords well for student confidence building. It provides learning outcomes and thorough syllabus and detailed assignment instructions with examples. The course is organized, easy to follow, and simple to navigate. The course material is appropriate to student knowledge and capabilities. Learners in the course may proceed at their own pace, and finally there is a course survey which allows students to comment regarding the usefulness of course materials and assignments. There are very few deficiencies in learner confidence areas. The grammar course also includes many satisfaction-producing features. It has ample opportunities for the teacher to include positive feedback and reinforcement. It also provides opportunities for students to interact positively with one another. They have the ability to collaborate, help each other, and mentor one another. Many extrinsic rewards in grades, discussion board competitions, and game prizes are included in the curriculum. It does not relate material to a realistic setting, however, and it does not include information about areas of related interest. It does not help students to find intrinsic reward and value in the coursework. The first objective will be that students will develop personal learning goals for the material. This will be assessed as the teacher interacts personally with each student about personal life goals and personal learning goals for the course. The second objective is that students will establish personal relevance on the topic. This will be assessed as the teacher assigns a project early in the course where students will need to identify how the course relates to their learning and life goals. The third objective is that students will express the course was engaging and stimulated attention. This will be assessed as the students complete an end-of-course survey with questions specifically about engaging activities and lack of boredom in the course. The fourth objective is that students will successfully complete and pass the English language section part of the PERT test. The assessment will be when the students report their English PERT test scores. The fifth objective, students will acknowledge real-world uses for the course material. The assessment will be as students use course material in projects, assignments that are related to the real world, such as college application essays, scholarships, etc. The sixth objective is that students will feel satisfaction in the knowledge that they have gained throughout the semester. This assessment will be that students will compare pre-test knowledge with summative knowledge at the end of the course. Potential tactics for gaining attention are to diversify media, design interactive games, demonstrate PERT stats of grammar questions, to share real stories of real people, to compare pre-test and post-test scores. Potential tactics to build relevance are to show the PERT overlap with the grammar class, to define personal goals, to create authentic assignments, to analyze real case studies, and to analyze the importance of course knowledge. Potential tactics of building confidence are to define course assignment rubrics, define module objectives, to give assurance of students' ability, to build progression of difficulty in material, to ensure final project matches student level. Potential tactics to build satisfaction are to identify intrinsic value of content, to create extrinsic rewards, to incorporate positive teacher feedback, and to incorporate positive peer feedback, and then to have the students complete a very difficult sentence diagram to demonstrate what they have learned. Because most of the motivational design problems were in the attention and relevance areas, we kept most of the design tactics for those areas. However, we did limit the confidence and satisfaction design tactics because both confidence and satisfaction were already within a satisfactory range. In order to integrate motivational design tactics with the instruction, we have some suggested revisions. First, for attention. You need to collect interesting grammar video clips and media, incorporate personal stories with lesson material, obtain PERT score information, verify the overlap of PERT content with course content, diversify module activity media and content, build asynchronous learning games and competitions, integrate self-analysis and learning growth. The relevance revisions we suggest are to develop personal goal forms for students to indicate how courses will help improve PERT English test scores, to find authentic articles, both positive and negative, about how grammar affected real people, to develop authentic assignments like scholarship essays or college or job applications. For confidence revisions, we suggest that we verify course objectives are met through the course content. We write specific module objectives, we develop assignment rubrics, and we measure student knowledge growth throughout the course. Satisfaction revisions we recommend are to create some extrinsic rewards like congratulatory screens when assignments are complete, maybe certificates of course completion, and maybe extra credit or other extrinsic rewards for game winners. We can develop opportunities for collaboration and for mentoring, and we can provide student comparison of pre-test and post-test scores. Fortunately, most of the current materials will suffice. We only need to obtain some additional authentic articles that have examples of great and poor grammar being used. We need to create some online extrinsic rewards. We need to develop an asynchronous online competition or two for discussion boards. And we need to design a handout signifying the overlap of the grammar course objectives with the PERT test questions. We need to develop variant presentation materials, audio recordings, artwork, comics, memes, visuals, etc. We need to write module-specific objectives, and we need to create a pre-test. The students will develop personal learning goals for the course material as seen through personal, one-on-one teacher interaction and assignments regarding personal goals. Students will be able to identify and demonstrate personal relevance of the course through completion of relevance and goal-oriented assignments. Students will have the opportunity to express that the course is engaging and interestingly presented in an end-of-course survey. Each semester, the course will be revised according to student responses and suggestions. Students will successfully complete the English portion of the PERT test. All students will be required to take and share their PERT test scores so that the course material can be aligned better to the PERT test material. Students will acknowledge real-world uses for the course material by completing their own personally chosen assignments, job applications, scholarships, essays, etc. Students will take a pre-test and a post-test and be able to compare their personal pre-test knowledge with their post-test knowledge. The course will be revised in areas of low performance to better guide future students. The implementation timeline. The next rendition of the course will begin in early September of 2020. The course materials will need to be updated and implemented before the end of August to be ready for a new semester of students. The first step in implementation is to create the necessary motivational materials. Because many of these items will need to be collected rather than created from scratch, the process should be relatively simple. Any materials gathered from other sources will need to get approval from material owners. One of the more time-consuming integrations will be data collection from the PERT test, and the comparison of that data to current lesson materials. The amount of time needed to adjust the current material will depend on how closely aligned the current curriculum is to the PERT test questions. Because the class was designed with the PERT in mind, it is assumed that the two will overlap significantly. However, there may need to be adaptations to current material and additional materials added in order to cover extra topics. Evaluation of motivational interventions and strategies. As previously stated, many of the motivational tactics and strategies will be assessed through teacher-student interaction and teacher observation. There will also be a few assignments that will measure motivational strategy success through student input. Each student will take the PERT test during the class and provide a copy of their PERT scores to the teacher. These scores will then be used to analyze the alignment between the PERT test questions and the course materials. Additionally, the statistics gathered from these exams will provide data to present future relevance for future renditions of the course. Finally, a student end-of-course survey will be given after the PERT test is taken to determine student reactions to the course. A sample survey is provided here. In conclusion, the current material for the Introductory Grammar 101 course was analyzed according to Kellers-Ark's motivational model. The main motivational problem area found after course evaluation was the lack of attention getting and retaining tactics. Not one of the three subdivisions of engaging student attention, perceptual arousal, inquiry arousal, and variability was employed thoroughly in the course. The course also lacked relevance-building strategies for student motivation. Although the course has relevance to the anticipated audience, it is not evident in the provided course materials. The confidence level of students coming into the course will be at a generally high level, and the course does provide confidence-building strategies. However, implementing a few new tactics to build confidence will improve the motivational design of the course. Student satisfaction is currently acceptable. Again, however, implementing a few new methods for increasing satisfaction will help students be motivated to succeed. In order to address these motivational problems, it is suggested that authentic and real-life scenarios be included in both the course material and in the assignments. Both the content and the presentation methods will be diversified to give more variability to the course. The course objectives and module objectives will be aligned with the PERT test questions, and the connections will be clearly stated in each module. Students will itemize personal goals and find connections between their personal goals and the course content. They will define the relevance of the material to their future lives. The timeline for the improvements of this course are approximately 1 month's time. Course motivational objectives will be analyzed through in-class teacher-student interactions and student assignments. Additionally, the comparison of pre-test and post-test learner scores and student PERT test scores will indicate whether the course successfully met its objectives or not. And finally, collection of an end-of-course survey will measure the effectiveness of the motivational design adjustments.